Is that better?
Now turn your mic down a little. There you go.
So I get to pretend like I'm a teacher in class, huh? Sounds good. Well, I think we'll get going here, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to After the Fledge. I'm just going to make sure this isn't too loud. Better? So where's the... This is something that got started. I'm going to blame Dorothea because I know that she was trying to help out Bob in the early days, and just, flocks of people, kind of like eagles, would come into town and love to see what was going on and want to see the shop and things like that. And this was all designed to try to make a concerted effort to have one event that everybody would come to and make it easier on the planners, on Bob and others, and now that gets to be me. So I do want to offer, if anybody wants a tour of the shed or something, maybe later this evening, or because we'll all be over there, right, for the dinner, or tomorrow. There's a boat cruise that I know I'm going on, but other times just let me know. And there's a couple others here, Dave Reynolds and Sandy, and a couple others that could probably show people around if you're interested in that. So anyway, welcome, and thanks for coming. I got to tell just one thing, that my life really changed, as you can imagine, when I got involved as director of the Raptor Resource Project. And even maybe before that, I think one of the funny things that it's just these little quirky things come up. It's like, I remember Bob taking a squirrel and telling me, "See Dad over there on that bluff?" He said, "As soon as I wave this squirrel, you watch, and he's going to come flying off that bluff." And he no sooner swung his hand up like that, and that squirrel was in the air. I looked over, and Dad was already in the air.
Oh my gosh.
So Bob was a falconer. He did a little bit of that stuff with the eagles. We've stayed away from trying to feed or alter that, but and do that. But anyway, so what do I do different now since I've got connected with the eagles? When I'm driving down the road and a squirrel or something comes out, or even raccoons or whatever, there's two thoughts that go through my mind. Run it over so I can get fresh roadkill to the eagles, or oh my gosh, I better not. I don't want to hit that animal. I love animals. So anyway, I got that conflict going on in my head now. So geez, all those kind of things going on in my head. So it's tough to deal with that. Let's get going on the After the Fledge. Again, thanks, and I just want to start so I don't forget, but thanks so much to Dorothea and all the work that went into this. I know I played a part in organizing Amy and Dorothea and the online auctions and all the beautiful, beautiful donated gifts that people have made that are here or not here. Thank you so much for that, and that really helps support the work that we do. So hey, I love this photo. This is one that Robin Brum had taken, and it's kind of like stories and talk time, Saturday night up in the Cottonwood. It's like, what stories are they telling? I think if we make these greeting cards later this year, we're going to have an open balloon there, and people can tell their own stories. But one of them was probably, I said, like Dad Decorah, the time that he first brought 2 fish up in the nest, and maybe they didn't know that Mom was going to be doing that in the future. Whatever the story is, it's just we've got so many stories as this group, and it's such a wonderful group that this eagle family, I just think it's neat to think about what the eagles are saying up in the nest. I know that's our projections on the eagles, but it's fun to do, right? So, picture of Dad. This is one of my favorites. Interesting, you take a look at that and you see the guy liner, right? So any other dad traits that you guys can shout out here?
The white head.
Well, the white head, yeah, not the dark feathers. What a beautiful bald eagle he was. Just amazing. And I think the thing that was neat that we did on the scientific basis is with the quality of these cameras, we could take a look at the iris of that eye and see the imperfections or maybe the perfections of just his eyeball. And that's ID recognition. One of our eagle researchers told me also just recently that if we got a picture of their foot, that the scale patterns on their feet is like an identifier. So come on in. You can come on in, or you can go up top. So anyway, this is my picture of Dad, the 50s, 60s Dad. This is Dad, all clean cut, showing his looks here. Here's the 70s Dad. He's kind of cool. He's relaxed, a little bit laid back. Hair's this is me last night in the wind, hair all over the place. Again, such a beautiful bald eagle. That's the thing that is so amazing and really kind of drew me into this whole thing, was just showing nature in a way that it almost looks like you're right there. It's so hard to look away when you see beauty in creatures like that. So this was an amazing story over the last 10 years. So this year, here's, during one of the big snowstorms that came, I'm pretty sure it was right around Easter, because I remember some rabbits came up into the nest, and rabbits came up into the nest right around then, and amazing, you guys know the story about what happened with the 2 snowstorms, and just amazing to see what these bald eagles can do in this climate in the Midwest here. And these were late season snowstorms. Kind of brought me back to thinking, American eagle when the original female kind of disappeared after that snowstorm. Here's Mom again. It's just incredible and amazing when I look at these pictures to see, what they're able to do. Her sitting on and incubating those eggs. The same thing with the north nest too. Actually, in this case, she would have been on young, right? If this is Easter, she would have been on young. At the north nest, they were actually incubating the 2 eggs that were there. Yes, this is the start of it. And this is one thing I didn't have a lot of time to show videos, and I'm trying to talk less and smile more here after my watching Hamilton a couple weeks ago. So beautiful video of little snowflakes coming down on these eaglets on their downy heads there, and I just remember that video. Just when you're sitting there watching the camera and you're capturing this stuff, it's just like, pinch me. I mean, I can't believe that everybody's getting to see this and watch this. And this is the kind of footage that we're working with Neil and Laura and other film companies, possibly to use for education, for Raptor Resource Project. And other, there's no footage of eaglets out there like what we're capturing right now. It's amazing. D31 there, still in the egg. And then, voila, after Mom does her thing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Can anybody tell me by identification or guess which eaglet this is? 29, 30, or 31? What's your guesses? 29? Hands? Yeah, go by the tail, right? Personally, I look at this one, and it's looked like he's got a shorter beak. This looks like more like a dad eaglet to me. So that's just my opinion, but I know we can't tell necessarily by just looking at them. But beautiful eaglet. I like how there's one in the background and it's kind of out of focus. Beautiful shots from the camera.
I didn't even see that. Oh my God. Great photo.
And now our story, this is what we're watching. We're watching the story unfold. Here's Mom. Here's David. I wanted to say that this was like near darkness, he told me, to pull this off and actually get a good quality image as dark as it was. He said, I just want you to know that. And so I thought he'd appreciate me telling you guys that this is a rare shot to get in near darkness. But we got Mom Decorah there. We got Decorah male, which we're calling him now, not unidentified male eagle. So he's Decorah male. So we get to see things play out here. You guys have been watching. You guys have got to see him and get photos, right, this weekend. And He's gotten closer to the fledglings. Mom is leaving him alone with them. We see him kind of tailing Mom when they're flying around the hatchery and when they're going on their day trips or dates or whatever you want to call it. He's really, I mean, it looks like they're tied together as a bonded pair, but we're going to see what happens going forward. We really don't know exactly what could happen. There's territorial disputes that could happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens this fall. And we certainly want them to come back to N2B. So Decorah Eagles. Mom Decorah as a single provider, April 22nd to July 15th. I'm just going to show you what she's done. And I know a lot of you have seen this and watched it and I got to experience, but it's really amazing. The other thing that's neat about this data is we're collecting scientific research here, and Sherry Elliott, who also does work on our Facebook page, she kind of helped get the group together of our CAM operators, some of the ones that are coming from the explore.org CAM group, and then our moderators and some of our CAM operators for Decorah here, pulling together and getting photos and putting notes in there so we can actually, and then Sherry pulling it all together. So what did Mom do? Just what did Super Mom do? 470 trout and suckerfish, and this is April through July. So this would have been after Dad went missing until about just this last week. 470. And one of those days, I remember she brought up 16 fish, and one of the fish fledged, right? So I think she actually saw it, went down and got it, didn't she? Yeah, pretty amazing. Not going to let that go through. And one thing that I thought was going to happen here, and I think we see, is that probably the distribution or the variability in the different types of prey that was brought up was probably less. She's going to go for what's the easiest thing without a mate. And Dad used to like to bring up a lot of roadkill and stuff like that. So I think without looking at the year on year, I think there was probably less of the roadkill and more fish. 4 squirrels, 2 rabbits, 1 rock pigeon, 2 mystery meat unidentified food objects. It wasn't flying. And 1 mouse delivered to a fledgling on a tree branch. I think Robin documented and characterized that. So nothing short of just amazing for what Mom Decorah did. And I remember, Neil and Brett and Amy and Jim and our other researchers were all just wondering, how is she going to handle this? What's she going to do? Is she going to be able to manage this? And she has done nothing short than amaze us. It has been amazing. So let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's talk about the Decorah North nest. So I remember vividly, this is the first nest, bald eagle nest, that I got involved with putting together from start to finish, and it got started with Bob. I don't want to say a backup nest because, we want to make sure that we got redundancy. And we can show eagles for our education program. That's a huge part of our mission, is our educational and the enjoyment that people get out of watching eagles. So we just cannot get caught without being able to show eagles. So great addition to the eagle family here in Decorah was the Decorah North nest. I'm pretty sure that that's Mom North there. She also has some darker feathers on her facial areas there, just like Mom here. And then Dad down below feeding DN7 and DN8 there. So unbelievable again at this nest what happened this year. Very amazing, and then just heartbreaking and tragic at the same time. We saw, basically what happened was it wasn't a typical year, and we had disruptive activity. We had eagles that were migrating through the area, and it looked like there were disturbances going on, daytime, nighttime, whatever, and we only had 1 egg laid. And I still remember some notes about Mom throwing up a fish, right about the time that she was supposed to be laying eggs. And we don't know if she might have been sick or something happened, but she only laid 1 egg, and it was really not what we expected for the cycle. Unfortunately, I think it was about after a week and a half, that egg got crushed, and everybody else was crushed too, I know. And I remember getting the news of that happening. And really, we didn't know, but I guess what we were looking for was would they lay a second clutch? Would they reclutch? And I know, many people were watching that. It's like, hey, they're still copulating. They're still doing the behavior that would biologically help produce eggs and signal this is the time of year that we're doing this. And I think we were just about getting to the point where we thought it wasn't going to happen. I remember talking to Amy, and it's like, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, she's laying an egg. She laid an egg. And then probably about 3 days after that, she laid the second egg. And we got to go through another whole cycle of incubation and watching that. After weeks of incubation, that first egg, as I mentioned, was accidentally crushed, and we wondered, would a second clutch of eggs come? And the additional 2 eggs came, and that huge snowstorm that came, I'm going to show you some photos there, but it was just really amazing to see the eagles incubating those eggs, kind of like in a donut hole, the eagles like a banana, just trying to get down there and keep those eggs incubated and warm. Very amazing to see that. Amazing hatch of DN7, DN8. So here's a beautiful shot, and just imagine that there's video here, but I don't have time to show you all that, but I could. Just beautiful video of the eagles doing their thing after the snowstorm there, and also getting up and shedding that layer of snow, when they finally did. Here's Dad Decorah North, kind of sitting there doing that. Got some nice close-up video of him. You can see the water droplets beating on him. It was really a warm, wet snow, and it melted pretty quickly, but still could be devastating, to say the least. Here's DN7, that elation that everybody had when that first eaglet hatched. It's like, hey, we're going to have a season at Decorah North. We're going to get to watch eagles all the way into December. I don't know. But anyway, we were really kind of excited about it. But then, we started to see the flies, which usually are there, and we know they're bothersome. We watch them even on the eagles now. This was an extremely bad year for flies locally in different places. Some places were spared, some places not. This Decorah North nest was not spared. And it was really kind of tragic. Not even hardly a week went by, and basically, they were pretty much, I think they succumbed to the not being able to handle those bites and the blood loss, just like we've seen with peregrine falcons and others before. But we lost them after, I think it was short of a week for DN8 and about a week for DN7. So tragic loss there. And I mean, here's a shot of the feeding. One of the feedings, we got some beautiful video of what happened that first week, recorded and stored. And this was kind of like the morning after. I mean, it is really symbolic. It's almost like there's 2 orbs of light there representative of the 2 eaglets. But just a beautiful scene and a really somber, just tragic thing for the lives of those 2 eaglets. Life goes on at the eagle nest. This is it's nature. We got the late hatching of bald eagles intersecting with the hatching of black flies. It's not typically the norm in this part of the country, and unfortunately, those 2 overlapping did not turn out well. One thing that I'm really excited to talk about this year and show you guys was this Kestrel cam. The Kestrel cam was pretty much, it started out as a dream of Neil Rettig and his wife, Dr. Laura Johnson, and they basically enrolled me and Amy and others in that dream with Raptor Resource Project. It's like, hey, we can do this. We got Kestrels. They're beautiful, beautiful, the smallest falcon. We can show that. There's issues with Kestrels right now. The American Kestrel Partnership and others are just trying to figure out what's up with this decline in population and numbers with American Kestrel. Nobody really knows exactly what's going on. So raising awareness, what can we do with just few people in this media of the internet and these webcams? Let's put a Kestrel cam up and let's do some stuff. So we got to partner with prestigious Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Bob loved Cornell, and we worked with them before in the past, and I know Neil and Laura had with the Philippine eagle work, and we just jumped at the opportunity, and the technology was really the challenging issue. Once we finally got internet service there so we could actually broadcast, We got this on the road. As I mentioned, partnership with Cornell Lab of Ornithology and the farm of Neil Rettig and Laura Johnson. But beautiful, beautiful kestrels, and we got to watch them. We had 4 hatch. One egg actually hatched, but it didn't hatch. One of them was near hatch and fully feathered, and then the other one seemed like it was empty or something, and it just had ruptured and drained out the contents. We had a successful fledge, and we're catching some video right now that is, I think, some of the first video on a kestrel cam of kestrels after fledge. There's a prey transfer branch there, and the female and the male come in. We get to see that. We got a really nice 4K 30x camera. We can zoom in and see them, eating insects. We were looking from 60 feet away, and we could see the flies crawling on the branches. We could see them eating katydids and grasshoppers. Just amazing. Amazing video of both in and outside the nest box. Little footage of kestrels post-hatch, I think that's out there. So a really great opportunity to show people something that they have not seen. And maybe, good for some research too. Got just a couple videos here that I wanted to show you. Let's see if I can get them to come up real quick if this works. Great. Here's Mom with the kestrels. Isn't that great? She's got a stowaway there, and there's 3 more. There's 3 more underneath there. Yeah. Here's this is really, it's like mayhem in the nest box. This is a feeding here, food fight if you want to call it. But here's the whole process. Male comes in, female grabs it, kind of just like the peregrine falcons, right? And now we're going to see, I just combined this, we're going to shift over to the nest box where the female's going to be pulling that over and taking it into the nest box. We got one of the young sitting there. These are coming. I don't know I could have kept showing this. I don't think I have too much more video because I was going to turn up my volume here, but I think here's the first fledge. This is beautiful. Thinking about it. Just thinking about it for a long time, for a couple days. Maybe it's on a barn, yeah. Somebody's right there, ready to go next, right? Yep. All right. All right, so falcon cams. We got beautiful falcon cams. I'm just going to show a little bit about the Great Spirit Bluff falcon cam here. This is what it looks like this time of year in the sunrise when the mist is off the river. There's Michelle, our female. For many years now. I think she's about 15, 16 years old. Here's a typical morning. We call that Cloud Lake, but beautiful cam if you want to see kestrels. Here's the 2 kestrel or falcons, Ella and Lene, that are still flying around this year. And peregrine falcon monitoring, really, this is a key component of our mission and what we do. The monitoring is very important. I'm just going to talk a little bit about that program here. Here's a shot of Dave Kester holding peregrine falcon for Amy and me to band. Successful year, we had 40 sites visited. I think that was almost a record, Amy told me. And not quite the productivity this year. A lot of eggs didn't hatch, but we still 69 falcons, close to our record there, I think, just shy of some of the mid-70 numbers that we had a year or 2 ago. nesting sites. We got city buildings, we got power plants, we got grain facilities, water tower partners, and then ultimately the cliff sites, which was what Bob's mission and dream was, to return the peregrine falcons to the eyries up and down the Mississippi River bluffs and their historic eyries there. Northern Minnesota all the way down to Peoria, Iowa, I think is pretty much what we're covering. And it's mostly up and down the Mississippi River flyway and some inner city areas like Dubuque and some other cities. Here's a site, but this is that opportunity that we have to connect with landowners. I was in that situation, a landowner, meeting Bob and Amy and the Raptor Resource Project. Here's Amy snatching, and it was a precarious off-rope kind of climb over there just to get to them. And we figured this out. It took us a couple hours to scheme and try to figure out how we were going to do that. Here's Maiden Rock, which is an unbelievable site up just on the north side of Lake Pepin on the Wisconsin side. There's some of the Wisconsin DNR folks there and interns. Homer Bluff, Homer, Minnesota, just south of Minnesota. Here's some beautiful young falcons this is at Redbird Bluff, and here's Amy with Jackson there. This is one that we've only banded for 2 years now, and that's the neat thing, is we're starting to find some totally new sites that weren't on our monitoring list that we're starting to add to the list. So that's a great thing. D24, 27 update just real quickly. D24 last location identified, I think it was like May or April this year. Not getting good signal all the time from D24, but every once in a while the transmitters check. And D27, we're tracking her right up into Ontario right now. So here's D24. He's one of the ones that's on this shirt. This is D24 and D25, right? D25 got hit eating roadkill. Here's where D24 was in the summer up just south of Lake Superior. And lately, last we saw, he was down in the Decorah area here. D27, here's some travels just seasonally. Fall, summer, spring, winter, all this data is on our website. It's really incredible data that Amy has put up there in the maps that Brett Mandernack and Eagle Valley crew put together. We're putting those out so you guys can see the travels. Here's up by Sandy Lake in Ontario where D27 is right now. And here's a satellite view showing kind of a dammed area with a spillway, and there must be some fish up there, I'm guessing. She must be eating good, right? Here's classroom. I mean, this is a huge component of what we do. This was a newsletter, and we really kind of talked about what the classroom chat was all about. We went ad-free this year. That was a huge improvement. Even though we were doing that with Ustream before, all of our platforms now are available ad-free through YouTube and explore.org. The educational chat, I think, is one of the biggest mission initiatives that we can expand here, that really working on improving that. And this year was a really nice expansion. We got up to 1,244 participating classrooms that signed up, and we're watching them in the classroom. And really neat, we had guests. Some of these classrooms would come in as guest moderators and come in and moderate the main chat with the whole public in the world. And being smarter than a second grader with Eagles is really challenging. I would not go up against them again. I won't tell you what the outcome was. This is our core mission. This is really important. Here's just an example. This is the kind of thing that we see. Goodbye, Dad. These were some kind of tribute things, but the kids, they just kind of understand this stuff and accept it, and it's like, they're sad, but, they really dealt with the whole thing of Dad going missing beautifully, and we had some guidelines for teachers and others to talk to them about it, but they did a great job. Here's just the thing that kids get connected when it's something that they watch. I mean, watching a movie and reading something in a book that's removed does not do the same thing as something that they're engaged in. And that's the power of these videos and what the teachers are doing with the classroom chat. And then they can ask the moderators questions, and we do little Skype sessions back and forth with them. It's just amazing. Here's one young kindergartner who basically built a nest in his backyard, and then he told his mom and his teacher that he was being like Dad Decorah, and he was providing fish for his young. So just, thinking about the connections that, 1,200 classrooms times 20, 30 kids a classroom. It's like, just think of the connections that even just our small program right now that's growing, how we're connecting with people and making a difference. Get these up there. We had a migration banding station with Luther, a collaborative project. 36 hawks. Students got to be proficient. They got to release them. We had a module that we put together where they'd actually bring them down to the classrooms. Here's a red-tailed hawk, one of them that was trapped, banded, released. Here's Emily Neal and Dave Kestrel, one of our board members, talking to the K through 6 classes, and then they do the release. Dave's got the bird there in a tube. You can see its tail. Emily's talking. This is the year that we are going to fund our first student for our Robert Anderson Memorial Scholarship. So this is a big thing that we wanted to do in Bob's memory and just have that legacy there. Donations from you guys, what we're doing is really helping fund that. Anyone can donate to that endowment. It is really meant to be there for other organizations and anyone who wants to grant money to that type of thing. So noteworthy Raptor films: Raptor Force, American Eagle, Eagles of Decorah, Decoding the Driftless, Secret Life of Owls that Neil and Laura put together, Bird of Prey about the Philippine eagle. I'm kind of running out of time here, so I'm going to go through some of the last of this stuff fairly quickly here, but we'll talk a little bit more about American Eagle and how Decorah Eagles got started here. But thanks so much to everyone that watches and enjoys this. Thanks to the landowners that give us access for these Raptor cams and to come do our banding and monitoring programs. The partners, Explorer.org, City of Decorah, agencies, conservation associations, others. I know I'm not catching everybody here. Our moderators and volunteers that put in so much of your valuable time. Thank you very much. And the cam operators. It's just all that time that goes in. It's just incredible. Thank you so much. Videographers that put this stuff together so we can watch it, and Amy can pull them together for our Friday night flicks, right? And Saturday or Sunday if you like to do it then. And then the teachers, what you are doing is so amazing. We see the value of what you guys do, and we know how important that is, and working together with you is such a valuable experience. Hopefully we can continue to grow that. So that's the end of my talk here. I'm going to get into, we're going to talk about Dad Decorah.